Okay. Welcome back to another one that I hope is going to be really successful. I know the conversation is going to be great because I've had conversations with our speakers before and we worked out so beautifully. I just had to make sure that somebody else actually gets to hear her insights because we can get on the call for a while. So I'm just gonna wait on her to step onto the live so that I can actually add her to it. Okay, but while we wait for her, because she's going to be coming through now. I saw she was online on Instagram, so she should be coming in any time from now. Okay, anytime from now, but otherwise we're back on the conversation around Suicide Prevention Month, and the reason why I like this is because suicide prevention, literally that's the conversation, suicide prevention. We're not promoting suicide. Okay, I think she's going to step in any moment now. But I was saying that suicide prevention, we're worried about trying to find ways to prevent our mental health stepping all the way to the part of suicide, as opposed to just saying we're just promoting the fact that there is a problem in the country around suicide. So now, okay, there she is. We'll kickstart our very interesting conversation. Can you hear me clearly?
Yes.
Okay, great. How are you today, Elsie?
I am good, Elsie, and yourself?
I'm great, thank you. Like, I really couldn't let today pass because I was too excited. I wasn't going to wait to postpone it to another day. But also, I'm excited because I know the depth of the conversations that we've had together. So I know how, it's just like, I don't know, like we talk and sometimes I'm just like, somebody else was listening in on what else Kugetso is saying, so that's why I'm so excited about today's conversation. So everybody's gonna know about your insights and yeah. All right. Otherwise, I'd like for us to step right into it and tell us briefly about what you do, so we have an idea of who we're speaking to today.
Okay. Thank you so much for the invite. I'm also excited to be doing this live. It is my first time. And I am Koketso Mufenyi. That's what I used for my social media platforms, be it for YouTube, for Facebook, for Twitter, and even for Instagram. I am a college lecturer, and the interesting thing about my job is that I lecture life orientation. So I get to speak to young people who are my students about life. I advise them about life. So that's what I do.
Okay, no, great. This is so much more exciting because we're not just going to be having this conversation from just your insights, but we're going to have it from a more understanding of the psychology aspect of everything that has to do with the way the human works, And I know it's going to go hand in hand with your YouTube channel as well, because that's the same information that you also give out over there. So I'm really excited about that. Now, I want to know, because this is Suicide Prevention Month, we're not just advertising Dabaya suicide, we're not just speaking about it in terms of we have a problem in the country as suicide. We're actually trying to find ways to prevent it. So while we're still here and while we know something, what can we do in terms of preventing it, right? So I would like to know when a routine how it's a it can be a monthly, a weekly, a daily routine, but the things that you've implemented how to help improve your mental health, so we can see what we can steal from what you do in order to improve ours.
Okay, it has to be a daily thing. It cannot be something that you do on a weekly basis, on a monthly basis, or on a quarterly or on a yearly basis. But it's something that one has to do on a daily basis in terms of you choosing your peace above everything else. For one to have peace, one cannot have peace automatically. Peace is not something that one can have automatically. Although peace is given to all of us because peace is a spirit, remember? And it is a fruit of the spirit according to Galatians 5.
Galatians 5.
Verse 22, right? Where it mentions the fruit of the spirit, peace, love, joy, and happiness. So you have to tell yourself that you are going to attract peace no matter what. Even when the situation does not look like it's going to be a peaceful one, you need to tell yourself. So what I do that has helped me in my journey and in my quest to pursue peace, and which helps me to hold on to this thing and say, you know what, I'm going to be a person who is stress-free, who has peace, somebody who is not depressed, somebody who is not anxious about anything, in spite of whatever that I would be going through. I've mastered the art of positive self-talk. I speak to myself a lot about positive things in my life, positive things that I want to see happening in my life. And how I do it is I have the affirmations that I do the affirmations like verbally. I normally look at myself in the mirror every morning after saying a morning prayer, and I would say to myself that Koketso, you are peaceful. Koketso, you attract peace. Koketso, you're going to be in a peaceful environment. Koketso, you're going to meet people who carry the spirit of peace. No matter what's going to happen, no matter the circumstance, no matter the situation that you're going to face today, you are still going to maintain your peace against all odds. So that is what I do on a daily basis. I affirm myself about peace. I declare it, number 2. And I also try to avoid places or even people that do not carry peace. And I am mentioning places as well because sometimes people think that peace is only found in people, whereas peace can also be found in places. The same way strife can be found in places, and it can also be found in people, because remember, peace is a spirit, and for a spirit to be active, it needs an embodiment. It needs to have somebody who's going to carry it, right? That is why I'm mentioning the issue of a peaceful environment, because sometimes see you living in a place where there's no peace because there's just that one person who carries the spirit of strife. And because that person is still there, peace will still be there. When the person leaves, the strife also leaves with them. The same way as when you have people who carry the spirit of peace in an environment, they change the atmosphere, they change the environment. You get my point? So that is what I do. I don't make any mistakes of keeping anything or anyone in my life who does not have peace. If it's a person that does not have peace, I cut ties with them. I don't even negotiate. I don't care how we are related, be it a person is a family, it's a friend, or it's a colleague, because even the Bible says that as long as it is dependent on us, we need to live peacefully with others. So it is something that you can't say, it will be there automatically. You need to strive to have, right? And you can only achieve it by, as I'm still sharing what I do that helps me to maintain my peace. So I try by all means to push out anything, any negativity, anything that will try to steal my joy. And I've also gotten to understand that, in life, it is not always that one will win. Sometimes you have to allow yourself to lose. What do I mean by that? Losing in terms of, if you are going to have a conflict with a person, or a disagreement or an argument with a person, sometimes you just have to allow the person that you are arguing with or disagreeing with to win, because your peace is so important, right? Sometimes you just have to act like you are stupid when you are not, because you just want to allow the next person to have their way. And I'm not saying you should be a pushover or you should be somebody that allows nonsense in your space or in your life. I'm not saying that. But all I'm trying to say is certain arguments, certain disagreements, certain conflicts can be avoided. And if you can avoid certain people, if you can avoid certain conversations with other people who steal your peace, so be it. And sometimes it can even get to a point where you don't even have to speak to a person, because we have gotten to think that because we are believers, it is forced on us to greet everyone. The Bible does not say we need to like everyone. We are instructed to love everyone. I might not like you, but I will love you. And in loving you, I can love you at a distance. You get my point?
Right.
Yes. It is not something that I have to force myself or force on myself to say, let me greet this person, because if I don't greet this person, then I'm committing a sin. No, the sin is in continuing to speak to the very person who tries to steal your peace, because remember, Satan has his own agents who are human beings.
Yes. Okay. No, I hear you. I'm actually like happy with the way you said what you said, now, especially the part cutting ties. And I realized that I get in my environment generally, right? Because I don't have siblings like that. But from my environment, just like speaking to you, I would hear tabaya cutting ties, le batho ba renkelang peace. And honestly, for the most part, and even younger than I was, there would be a lot of issues like that, like but not knowing how to cut off. And if it's in a friendship, you'll just hope that you guys just don't go to the same varsity. If it's in varsity, you'll just hope that you guys just don't land up in the same job or whatever. I mean, you hope that it's a failure, right? But then comes tabaya, there's also relatives as well, and I think for the younger generation, it's quite difficult to understand or to know or to try to figure out a way, who push at that area, okay, this person don't get a piece, and how do I cut ties with them? Would you have a simple way or an idea or help that you'd be able to give to someone in the younger 20s? Because in high school and younger than that, we do have people that we're interacting with, but more than anything, we're learning how to figure out the environment and how to maneuver around the environment. But the older you get, the more you actually have a choice in terms of the environment that you are in. It's a choice and to be in an environment that just does not help you out at all. It's a choice. But the club will allow the time, the age, how to be there. It's a choice for you to keep friends that keep pushing you in the wrong environments and keep pushing you to have the wrong conversations and get into fights and all of that. It's a choice. But I think when you're younger, to make the decision of saying, I'm cutting you off as a cousin, or I'm creating boundaries, how would you say we would be able to, or we could find a way to create those boundaries?
That's a very interesting view, right? Because my observation is that most people fear rejection, right? And they fear rejection so much that they would not even want to cut ties with the very people who are toxic to them, who are toxic in their lives, because of the fear of, if I cut ties with this person, then I will be left alone, because this is my best friend and we grew up together, we've been friends for longer, or not even just the best friend, it can even be your relatives, right? And don't get me wrong, I am not saying we should stop loving our relatives. I am not saying we should disown our relatives. You can love a person at a distance. I said so earlier on, and I will repeat. You learn to love a person at a distance for your own sake, for your peace of mind, because your peace of mind is so important that you know that this person, whenever we engage, there's going to be conflict, there's going to be war, there's going to be quarrel, there's going to be a disagreement. So you don't want that. You don't want drama, because sometimes we as human beings, we are able to attract drama, the very drama that we say we don't want. We are attracted by what we allow into our space. So you need to find your identity as a young person, because most people who fear rejection are people who have not found themselves, who have not found their identity, in a sense of saying, you know what, I am enough on my own. I am complete on my own. Mbali cannot complete me because Mbali did not create me. Oketo can't complete me because she did not create me. So it's like we forget that, you know what, in as much as it is possible that people can connect because of God connecting them, God can also stop that connection, right? And it could be because of the very connection that you established.
It is not a connection that is taking you forward. It's not a connection that is bringing joy or peace in your life. It is a connection that derails you. And as such, you need to get to a point where you say, you know what, I will find other people. I will find new connections, right?
Yes.
You should be able to open yourself up to meeting new people, to even creating, you know, connections that would even look like it's blood connection, even if it's not blood, because people think that for you to be loved, you can only be loved by those who are blood. The very people whom we expect love from cannot even love us. They hate us. You understand? And because they hate us, they are not willing to give us the love that we yearn for. We're thinking, for God cannot send somebody who can be your relative or your sister or your mother, because you were abandoned or you were rejected by your mother, by your father, or even by your spleen. Therefore, you cannot meet somebody who can close, that's even replaced the very person who was trying, or who rejected you. So we should be in a position to, young people, not to be, because I'm no longer young. Yeah, young people should understand themselves and know that their identity is in Christ. And because their identity is in Christ, they need to find themselves. They should always go to God for whatever that they need. They should not say, you know what, because I am lonely or I need friendship, or I need to relate with people. If these people reject me, there will not be other people coming. God brings people every now and again.
Yes, absolutely. Okay, great. No, thank you for clarifying that. Yeah, thank you for clarifying that. That was a very important point that you added to my question. All right, so here's another thing. While we're speaking about finding ways to prevent Dabaya suicide, I would like to know what is it that you do to help your community, or to, you know, not in terms of like the NGO, but the people around you on a daily basis, or every now and then, that you find any simple thing the next person, because like I said, we're trying to find a way to prevent suicide, and sometimes it's just a matter of having conversations and all of a sudden they feel better, or just being kind to the next person and all of a sudden they feel better, or having a way to respond to people that call and say, I'm not feeling well, I'm not okay, or I'm worried, or I'm just not okay, because it's not easy for someone to come and tell you that I'm suicidal completely. So for someone to just be like, but just the people around us, how can we implement better ways to help, and how do you help somebody else for their emotional and their mental space without taking away from your emotional and mental and spiritual space?
Okay. I want to believe that every person who is broken or was broken or faced rejection, or who has had thoughts of suicide, who has been depressed at one point in their life, or had a mental illness at one point in their life, I want to believe that it happened for a reason. Why I'm saying it happened for a reason, I am of the belief that God would often use such people to reach out to those who are going through the most, because I cannot preach to somebody about depression when I have never been depressed. So it becomes easy for me to reach out, because as a person who has been depressed before, as a person who at one point or even more than once wanted to commit suicide, when somebody is despondent, when somebody's going through the most, when somebody lacks peace, when somebody's depressed, when somebody's facing hardships in their life, I'm often ready to jump in and assist, because I internalize their pain. I personalize their pain. I make their pain to be mine. To step into their shoes, because I've walked in that journey before. And because I've walked in that journey before, I don't think I lose anything in reaching out. And sometimes I find myself reaching out to people who are not even asking for help. I would just feel their pain and want to share my testimony of what God has done in my life, how I've overcome, and how I continue to live a life of peace. For instance, I was in a shopping store, at a grocery store 2 weeks ago, and I met a lady, and before me and her started engaging, because what we were talking about, it is what I went through, and she is going through it right now. And I was not even aware that me and her engaging, I was able to bring comfort into her spirit. I was able to counsel her unaware, right? Because most people think that counseling has to be, or therapy has to be something that is formal. It can be, right? It can be you sharing a word of positivity, a word of encouragement, and making the person feel that, you know what, they are not alone. So back to the story of the lady that I met in a grocery store. We just started chatting about how she had packed her stuff on the trolley, and I was like, hey, you are such an orderly person, because I can see the order even in how you packed your grocery inside the trolley. And she laughed. And then from there, I don't know how we even ended up talking about peace, where I was saying, you know what, you don't have to force people to love you. And some people, where I was now sharing to her, saying people, this is how it led to the conversation that me and her had about peace, where she was saying I'm lovable and I'm such a joy to talk to. And I'm like, is it? But we barely know each other. How can you tell that somebody's peaceful when you just met them and you don't even know they're alive? And in her statement, I got to understand that peace is a spirit, and it is a spirit that cannot be ignored. And because it cannot be ignored, when you carry that spirit, automatically people are able to pick it up. They're able to sense it, to say, this person carries peace, without you saying, I'm a peaceful person. Because certain things you don't even have to tell about people, that you're a joyous person or you are a peaceful person. They see it, right? They sense it. So she said the same thing. I was like, no, what? Funny enough, I started a series on peace of mind, and I encouraged her to watch my YouTube videos on peace of mind, because it is relevant to what she's going through. And I want to share this story about Mary and Elizabeth. I don't know if you know the story of Mary and Elizabeth, on Luke chapter 1 verse 44, where the Bible says that when Mary greeted Elizabeth, the child in her leapt for joy, right? So why
chapter 1 verse 44?
Yes. The reason I'm mentioning this, it is to say that, that peace is the spirit. And because peace is the spirit, there are people that when they greet you, by virtue of them greeting you, even when you are having a bad day, you are able to smile. You are able to even forget about whatever that is stressing you out. Right. For instance, I have a guy at work. He is in his 50s, late 50s. I even said, we've been working together for 5 years. I said to him recently that, you know what, I've been wondering why I connect with you the way I do, and you understand me more than everybody else. And even then, when my moment, because I don't want to say bad day, since I don't believe that one can have a bad day, but one can have a bad moment, as I shared even in one of my YouTube videos, right? And I said to him that I can have a bad moment, but when I see you, just you smiling at me without even knowing what I'm going through at that time or at that moment, you are able to lighten my mood up. You are able to even bring back my smile without even, me sharing what I would be going through. Because it is the same thing that I shared about Mary and Elizabeth, that the child in Elizabeth leapt for joy when she greeted Mary. And it's even there in the Bible where Elizabeth is saying, the greeting that I am receiving from you has brought about joy in my spirit. So it is things like that we need to be aware of, and it is things like that we need to pursue. We need to pursue people who carry such a spirit. And so it is not difficult for me to encourage, as I said, that it comes naturally because of what I went through, and even the compassion that I end up having towards those who are going through the most. It is because I've been there. I've been broken before.
I've had moments where I lacked peace. I've been suicidal. I've been depressed before. And so it's easy.
Quite easy if you've walked in that journey before.
Okay, I love that you say that, because I think that will be encouraging to so many people who would be currently going through something like that, to not feel like something is wrong with me, but to actually have the urge to want to get past that feeling of depression currently or suicide currently, whatever, and know hore, in any reason to it right now, and I'm probably going to be able to save somebody else's life through what I'm currently going through. So
Yes.
let me breathe it and be able to find a way to work with it, work around it, let it go at some point, because I have faith and I've got the hope. Yeah, hore, at some point it will fail and and I'll be able to lift somebody else's spirits up. I think it's a very nice point to add, because most of the time you are sinking, and you are sinking alone, and more usually when you are in your really depressed state, you also isolate yourself. So it's not like you're sitting around people that are saying that you're going to be fine one day. You actually find ways to avoid being around anyone that's going to say anything, even if it's going to be positive, because how sana energy that. But just from listening to this conversation, I think someone will be able to pick up on, oh, okay, it's a season. It's a how long when I know I can actually get past it, like somebody else was able to get past it. And these people that I'm listening to, that are able to speak so well and to encourage me, are not speaking blatantly. They're not speaking out of nowhere. They're speaking from a position of having been where I currently am right now, which means I will eventually be able to speak out of so much peace actually as well at some point. Right. So I'm really happy about that point. Now, the other thing that I wanted us to speak about, since COVID, social media has become a bigger thing. And for me, it affected my mental health. And obviously, it was just affecting my mental health in terms of like how business was going and personal life was going. Like all of a sudden, COVID just made it shut it down. You know what I mean? And for me to feel better, I started my YouTube channel and started speaking about mental health in so many different ways. Some places speaking about my experiences, and in some ways just speaking about my solutions. And through doing that, creating a better circle around my social media, because I started doing more research and trying to see what are other people on social media, are they speaking about the same thing, because I really was struggling to find what's buang about that type of piece on, especially on YouTube and generally on social media, because in South Africa we have more influencers on social media, and we do that because we're trying to escape reality, because our reality can get heavier and heavier and heavier. So to escape reality, we're on social media, and we look for people that give us lifestyle that we are so far from. So when I was looking for peace, and I was looking for a better environment, and for people that are going to give me information that's going to help me out, I couldn't find people in South Africa that could speak the language that I was speaking, in terms of even just being familiar with the environments that I'm in. So I decided to start it myself. But now, not a lot of people can find people in the social media space that they can follow that are better for their influence. And not just in social media, just in our environments. Going back to the point that I was telling you, as young people, we're struggling to cut ties, live out to being toxic in our environments. And you can feel, Mujimur instinct all the time. We feel, okay, here I'm in the wrong space, something's not right. But instead of actually taking action in terms of I'm in the wrong space, we decide to stay because we don't know how to intentionally take care of your power circle, intentionally take seriously the environments that you're in. So what I want to understand, or what I'd like to learn from you, is what do you do to improve environment, how the circle of people around you, the people that you have, like you're speaking about now that means that you've created an environment that is healthy for you, and then you get home and you create an environment healthy for you. You get on social media and you've created an environment healthy for you, to the point where you started your channel as well, which is also still speaking about a healthy space for a person on their own individually, right? So I want to know what it is that you do, or to enforce dabaya, keeping people that are positively influencing you on top of cutting ties le batho ba leng toxic to your environment?
Okay, thank you. It is important to recognize the people that surrounds you, right? I like to make this example about Jesus. I think this is a perfect example to make on the basis of what we are talking about in terms of, associating with others. Jesus started with a multitude, and he later on moved to the 12. That's where we find the 12 disciples of Jesus, the 12 disciples of Jesus Christ. And then when he went to the cross, he was left with only 3, Peter, James, and John. Right. Now, there's something that you can learn from there to say, from time to time, the people that you started with, the people that knew you back then, people whom you grew up with, are not the people that you're going to finish with, are not the people that are going to journey with you, especially as you progress in your life. New people are going to come into your life. New people are going to come into your space. And because of such, we need to embrace it, because, relationships are things that are seasonal, right? Certain relationships, especially in terms of relationships that are platonic. Platonic relationships tend to be seasonal, right? You become a friend with somebody this season. The next season is a different ball game. And it doesn't even have to end bad between you and the person, right? You just have to embrace it and tell yourself that their story in your life is complete. You have to now meet other people who are, other characters in your life, so to speak. So you need to appreciate the people who are in your season, who are, and even if it means making it known to them that you are appreciative of the role they play in your life, you are appreciative of, them relating with you, because sometimes certain people, like some of us, we can be regarded as people who are difficult to relate to. Some people think I'm antisocial. Some people think it is difficult to relate to me. I'm a difficult person. But others find joy in being around me and engaging with me, because they have given themselves time to know me and to actually understand me better. So any person that comes into your space and who says, you know what, you are perfect the way that you are, I don't need to change the person that you are, I don't want you to be somebody else, you are fine like that. You need to embrace such people, you need to embrace such relationships, and even be appreciative of such people, because such people are hard to find, to be honest. They're hard to come by.
True. Okay. I'm happy you put it in that way, because I think it goes back to Tabaya Hotaba rejection, and to avoid being fearful of rejection. So, which means that if we can just sit in the space, as I am, I'm good as I am, I'm okay as I am, and while I'm improving on myself, I need to be around people where they find peace in being around me. Because I think for the most part, we work so hard on maintaining the relationships where they don't necessarily find peace around you, and even more so find ways to energy how in the wrong direction. And then we work so hard in trying to see how can I help this person, how can I do better, how can our environment change when we're together, how can this, without realizing maybe we've come to a point where your story in my life is a fedile and my story in your life is a fedile, and now it's time for us to make different connections and find other people. And I think it's also a matter of not being scared to make other connections and not being scared to find other people to connect with, because when I have that one bestie that I've told myself, I get and I love this person, we close ourselves off from meeting or from making other connections, and from knowing other people and from learning from other people. Now I've seen through my business, I meet new people all the time, right? And because of the nature of having to meet new people all the time, I had to learn how to be open and how to be able to relate with just about anyone that I come across. And it eventually taught me, sort of my business doesn't give me time to have a proper social life. So my social life will then come in my business. But it was I think it was God just positioning my whole life, because from there I was able to create the connections that allowed me to grow into bigger spaces. And so I'm really happy that's how you pointed out about being okay with making bigger and better connections. I would like to know from you, did you actually know about Suicide Prevention Month until I came to you about it?
Did I know about it?
Yeah, did you know about Suicide Prevention Month?
Are you asking?
Yes, I'm asking.
How can I not know? Because I'm a life orientation lecturer. Remember that?
Okay, because a
Yes.
lot
So
of
I
people
should
are
know
not
these things.
aware. You should, you're right.
I
Because
should.
a lot of people are
I'm
not
an academic.
aware of
I'm a
it.
life orientation lecturer, so I should know.
Yeah, lovely. Because a lot of people are not aware of it, and I think a lot of people don't know what should be done around the time. You know, what would you think would be better ways to implement or to participate better and to grow this thing, suicide prevention, specifically sticking to the point, preventing it more than creating awareness for mental health? What do you think would work better just to grow it further?
The campaign should be ongoing. It should not be only in September. It should be something that starts from January to December, so that people know. Because remember, matters of mental illness are things that don't only happen in September, as one would think, to say, oh, so because they're talking about suicide prevention, it means more people are killing themselves or committing suicide in September. No. It's an everyday thing. So that is why, it gives me great joy to be sharing such things and giving people tips on how to maintain their peace, because to a great degree, people who commit suicide, they do so as a result of lacking peace. Right.
Yes.
And because they lack peace, because your peace is connected to your joy, and the Bible says the joy of the Lord is my strength. So you end up becoming so weak, you end up not having the strength, and as I said, that it's connected to your joy, not having even the joy to enjoy your life because of the pressures of life that overwhelms you. So it is something that has that we need to talk about every day, so that we can reach more people about this. You say there is help. You are not alone. Speak to someone. Because most people go through this without even being aware that there's free help, there's free therapy, there's free consultation.
Yes.
That's why I'm even here. I offer free therapy or counseling to those who are going through the most.
I'm happy with what you mentioned. The details, the free counseling therapy sessions that you are aware of, and then in our biography of this video that I'm going to put on YouTube, I'm going to put all of those details written down.
Yes, especially in Tembisa, because I work in Tembisa.
Oh, lovely.
Especially let me say Ekurhuleni, let me not just say Tembisa, but I know of organizations in Tembisa.
Okay, great.
That offers free counseling.
Please, and then in our bio, and I think the more we have conversations about this going forward, at least for people to even have someone to refer to, so someone to go to, and not make an excuse. Yes, a professional to go to without making excuse. Mental health professionals are expensive. Then now it's places that I can go to improve myself, because we're going back to Tabao, we spoke about not just knowing what I'm currently in this position, and finally realizing through listening to this conversation that I actually can get out of this conversation and help others. But now, how am I going to get out of this position? Through the free help that is actually
sorry, I'm moving from where I was.
Not a problem. I also had to move to find a place to charge. But also, I was looking at the 30 minutes. I was really for showing up with all our network issues. I'm so happy you waited it out and we were able to have the conversation finally now. But otherwise, we'll continue to speak further. Please don't forget to send me those details, and we'll be in touch.
Okay, absolutely. Thank you so much for the invite. I enjoyed being live on Instagram. As I said, it is my first time, and I look forward to having more of these in the future.
Yes, definitely. We will do so. All right. Thank you. Have a good day, Mama.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
Sure.